According to Chain Storage, headline number 2, I alluded to this before, but there's a pickup only grocer startup called Fresh Street that aims to grow through a speedy, no fee pickup service. Fresh Street opens this Friday tomorrow, and features 5,000 SKUs, which they believe will help more closely monitor inventory and out of stocks. Orders placed with Fresh Street will be ready for pickup within 30 minutes without any pickup charges. And you get the honors here today, because this is also our on the spot question from A&M CRG this week. And our very own Chad Lusk, friend of the show, even did some extra investigation on this one. Yes. And here's what he had to say and his question for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
I'm Chad Lusk, the Angela Lansbury of retail. He's digging deep.
Angela Lansbury of retail. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. Only without the hair, because her hair was quite the bouffant. All right. We love the Fresh Street concept and the key consumer problem it's trying to solve. When we at A&M CRG asked CEO Mike Sales about running this model amongst the large grocery players going the path of automated microfilament, he said, quote, "I felt like these high-tech, highly automated solutions with robotics were too far ahead of where the consumer is. People aren't ready for robots to be picking their produce. And given margins in grocery and high CapEx associated with other models, there are other solutions that provide the convenience consumers are looking for without all the upfront costs for the retailer," end quote. What do you guys think? Here's the question from Chad. Can a niche be created and sustained here for a mid-tech, convenient, transparent, and affordable grocery solution? And your thoughts, please.
You know, I like this upon first reading it. I think that it shows some hustle. You've got somebody that's coming in who's like, all right, we are not going to do the major micro fulfillment center. We're not going to do the tiny, ghost little like dark stores setup. We're going to try to serve this need right in the middle and do it manually first. And then I think get to understand what we do need as far as automation. I don't think this happens successfully without deploying some form of automation at some point in time. But for right now, I think they're focusing on the right things. Inventory accuracy. Not quite sure. There was a little vague in the article about how they're doing this. It sounds like they're just saying we only let our operators in the store, so we always know where product is. Which
for those of us like a warehouse, basically. It's operating.
Yeah, but for those of us who've worked in a store, always knowing where your product is without having like tagging on the products or something. We'll see. Yeah. There's not a lot of places for it to go, but it can still be hidden some places. But I do think this is figuring out, how to affordably operate a quick turn grocery business. You don't have to deal with last mile delivery costs or gig worker wages. But I think that it's also further proving the point that convenience does not mean 10-minute delivery or, 2-hour delivery to my house. It's allowing me to get products at the exact time that I'd like to get them and not having to plan that out more than 30 minutes in advance.
So your point is you think there's a consumer need state for this type of trip type?
I think, yes, for right now. I don't know that I think it's a long-term sustainable solution, but I do think that this is a good way for it's a good need that's being served, and it's not, one extreme or the other. It's kind of taking the best of both worlds and testing it out.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, my take is, upon reading, I'm a little skeptical of the idea. I think to your point, what he's alluding to is the fact, I think you're right on one thing. It's like, it's going to be operated as a warehouse. So your inventory accuracy is going to be far higher, which is going to make the overall operations better, which we've talked about the value of that on this show a bunch of times. The thing that I have trouble with this kind of concept though, is like when you say no fees, whenever I look at a startup, and I've asked this question on the show 1,000 times. I used to ask it with Brandless, for example. I'd always be like, where is the margin actually coming from? Right? Grocery is an inherently low profit business. And this is still a more expensive way to operate a store than having your customers come in, take the stuff off the shelves and bring it home with them. It's more attractive than delivery, but it's still probably more expensive than a traditional grocery store. And then, by the way, the grocers are still getting better at this, which is the point, Chad and the A&M team are alluding to too, in the sense of like, there's going to be other players out there that allow you to come up and pick up and go curbside, and are going to do that more efficiently as well. So in the long run, it just makes me wonder, like, okay, where's the margin going to come from? Because then I get back to the only way you're going to command the margin from this service is through higher prices of your products. And you have a limited assortment at that too. And so over time, I think in the long run, you're going to still have people gravitate away from this, even if in the beginning it's hot and sexy because it's new and provides the consumer element that you were talking about. I just worry that, in the long run, that's not going to be that interesting to people because the prices for the products themselves will probably have to be higher to offset the cost of doing the model. But I don't know. What's your final word here?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, there probably are some advantages. They only have 5,000 SKUs in this store.
The point about employees is interesting too.
Yeah, there's only going to be
rising wage rates. Excuse me.
Right. There's only going to be 4 employees that they're using to staff this store. It said so. I mean, it is lower, I guess, than the overall cost of operating a full size grocery store. But I think to your point, like, what happens when checkout free starts to come in here and you can go, I mean, with a 5,000 SKU assortment, that's just like a convenience store at that point, or a larger scale grocery store like Choice Market. We're already seeing that being fully adopted with completely checkout free retail technology. I mean, that eliminates the need, you still can have, 4 employees running that store. You still can get the convenience items in 30 minutes or less, and you're going to do the work for it. So
yeah, and that was the thing I was
you might have converted me.
That was the thing I was thinking about too, Ann, though. Like, like when you look at the other options too, like if it's limited assortment, quick trip, you've got instant delivery, which you could go on in the same effort and get the products. Or if it's a small trip in and of itself, it may just be more convenient for you to go into the store and get it than waste time on the user interface trying to find everything, which we know in grocery is not always the best user experience to make that happen fluidly. So so there's a lot of questions I have about this, but
you might have converted me, and we'll have to check it out when we're in Chicago soon.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, did we have another story like this a couple years ago too, where somebody in the South was doing like a drive-through only grocery store as well?
Drive-through grocery, 30 minutes or less. I do still like that concept a lot.
Yeah.
Not getting out of your cars.
Same general idea too. I mean, at the end of the day. So like, so I mean, the idea is happening. So it's gaining steam for sure now across the country. So it's cool. It's going to be fun to watch because, God knows where these things go and who knows.